momentarily, and 2:30 to 4:30 today. America's Day at the Races. Greg, Maggie, and Maggie will be seeking shelter. Hopefully, the rain may stop before then.
Right there, she could seek shelter right in the gazebo.
Got cold quick, huh?
Keep an eye, folks, by the way, over at Naira Bets, too. With the Oaklawn cancellation all weekend, we switched up a couple of the promotions. The cross-country pick 5 is now 3 races at Tampa, 4, 6, and 8 tomorrow, and then our 7th and 8th races. So just
two
keep an eye on
stakes at
that.
Tampa?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting
Endeavor
races.
and the Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Return of Soft Power in the other race, so it has not run since
Fun
he broke
sequence.
his maiden on
We'll put something
midday.
together over
And
at
of
Naira
course,
Bets tomorrow.
It's the 8th and 9th here? Or 7th and 8th?
7th and 8th.
7th's a good
4,
allowance.
6, 8
and
at
then
Tampa, 7, 8
the
here.
winners. Yeah, 3 graded stakes in that sequence. Race number 1. Race number 1. You have the same horse as me, so why do you like Hey Mac, It's Jack?
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
Fresh gelding, first off the trainer change to Kerry Brion. I would imagine this horse is going to be forward in a race that does not have a lot of pace, Andy, and Jorge Vargas Jr., one of the more aggressive riders in the room here.
So you picked this horse because you thought it would be speed?
I thought this horse will be
What
in front
do you
today.
think about the fact that yesterday's track was very, very kind to horses that were making
Yeah, it
outside
bothers
runs?
me. It bothers me a little bit, but I do believe this horse will show
I mean,
some speed.
I agree he's the speed. It's not why I like him, but I agree he's the speed.
He ran against some pretty good horses, too. He wasn't going to get in front of Mr. Fantasy, and Mr. Fantasy broke his maiden for the 40.
Well, that was a big inside speed track, too, and he was outside.
We haven't seen him now for almost a year, so...
So the trainer change has nothing to do with it?
I just said it. The first time Kerry Brion was the first thing I said.
Yeah, that's why I picked the trainer change. And the speed worries me because we did have a track where you don't want to be anywhere near the rail, it can seem.
But now let me ask you a question. How much will the excess rain, because this track, I've been in my office since about 9 o'clock. This track looks considerably different.
There's no guarantee it's the same track as yesterday. You're absolutely right.
I'd be careful.
You're absolutely right about that.
Keep an eye on that going forward. There's a lot more rain on that track and a lot more moisture on that track than there was yesterday.
Okay, no, that's a fair point. I know this horse is interesting on the trainer change, and the other thing is that I'm kind of tired of, the brew pubs and Feather, and Feather Road and Scherzando. Well, boom, 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 has no chance. But 5-2 now. It's funny. Mr. Breadwinner worked a mediocre 21-3 at Ocala over a year ago, or almost 2 years ago. Excuse me. I can't take a horse to a 2-year-old sale, and it's taken 2 years to get to the racetrack.
Tonalist out of a Giants Causeway
I
mare
know.
going 3/4 first time out.
Tonalist was staying for a lot more than 10,000 when they bought this horse as well.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Scat Brat.
Yes.
You picked him and the race got canceled last Friday, but you don't have him in the top 4 today.
I thought this race was a little different. I was going to take a shot with him that day. I don't know.
But not in the top 4.
Another one gone for the year. I probably slept it, but
okay. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
We'll take a look at his race because we're going to watch the whole race Scat Brat ran. He's very dangerous. I feel if he were to run this race, he probably would win. He's the number 3 horse. This probably, and I thought Pablo Morales rode okay down here. This was not a ride he should be proud of. I don't know why he just, it's like Richie says they're running the emergency brake on. He put the emergency brake on this horse. And the horse actually, I'm not sure this horse couldn't be forward, actually. Actually. You watch it, and it's just like he just, didn't know what to do. Maybe he was afraid of him running off a little bit on him, and he's going to end up making a big wide brush, and he actually makes a big brush and gets fairly close. And when you consider the trouble he had at the start, the sort of little, I don't think it was rank. I don't know what it was.
I don't know if he may be reacting to the slop because he kind of jumped. He looked a little apprehensive. Like when he got behind the 4 just now, he kind of threw his head up in the air like he was resenting the kickback a little bit.
Maybe. The actual reason to not be as positive about him as last Friday's race is last Friday's race was a maiden $25,000 claiming race, and this is a maiden special. And it's not so much that I worry about the competition, though the competition obviously is sterner in this race. It's that Dave entered this horse knowing this trip off a long layoff for $25,000. And this race came up. He wants to get a race into him, but it bothers me a little bit that he was entered for a tag. I do think he's dangerous, but he was entered for a $25,000 tag last Friday. Okay. We'll see what happens in race number 1. Not really much to say about race number 2. It's an unfortunate circumstance when we cart a 6-horse field and 3 of them scratched. We'll take a quick look at Perceived, who the only thing that's really interesting about Perceived is going to be about 1 to 9 in this race, is that after nobody wanted to claim him for $40,000 coming off a 10.5-month layoff, he sold at the Paul Pompa Dispersal for $140,000 a couple weeks later. That's about the only notable thing about this horse.
Literally, like 9 days later, he sold.
I was astounding. It's not. If somebody claimed, but
And
sorry,
the, and
claimed to win the sale.
the claim box is always crowded here. It's always busy.
And by the way, I get not wanting to claim him 10
Yes.
month layup, Chad Brown, et cetera, et cetera.
But then you go and buy him
He
for
did show
$1.40.
two back. He could still run. He obviously was atrocious last time. But given what's left in this field, and the other thing is, he's the controlling speed in this race, for whatever that's worth. But you're going to try to beat him.
Yeah, I was going to try
You
and
and
get
Brooke
goofy with you.
Ficarella having a drink together and said, I'm going to beat Perceived?
Absolutely not.
17
I
drinks?
was just-
Not no disrespect, Brooke. Maybe you had 17 drinks. I don't want to count for what the other person did.
I was just getting a
You got to
little
have a
goofy.
story on this horse.
You know what?
There's got to be a
I
story.
don't have a story on anything. I tell you what it was. When the race was whole, I didn't want it's mandatory at a short price. I don't want this horse voided claim. We don't see the horse for 7 months. Comes back, horse doesn't run 2 steps last time. Now another drop from 35 to 14. The blinkers go on, man. It's just it looks like it's desperation. And look, it's a 3-horse field now.
Okay,
It's a complete different, it's a completely different scenario here.
Okay. I'm not gonna run to the window to bet on Perceived at
Yeah.
1 to 5 or 1 to
You know?
9. So have at it.
Yeah.
Race number 3, 5 down to 4. I'll be honest with you. I really didn't have much of an opinion in this race. I mean, we'll look at Easy to Bless's last race. I will say the rider probably moved a little soon with her last time, and she ran well. She's just not that good. I just thought Dealing Justice was probably a better horse in here. Swanday Tot was so bad last time I couldn't trust her. I went 2-3. I didn't really care about
I'll say
anybody else.
this. Ray Handel, happy birthday, Ray Handel, by the way.
He
Today's his
actually has a birthday, Ray?
Yeah,
Well, who
33 years old today.
Really?
Yes.
Geez, he seems much older, doesn't he?
Well, he's been in the game since he's like 16. So yeah, I mean, half of his life he's been galloping horses and everything.
Just joking.
He has made it a point when talking about this horse to say he really doesn't want to. He doesn't love running around wet tracks. So I don't do with that what you will.
He's a
It's
trainer.
another wet track,
That's what
yeah.
they do. They say
Yeah,
dumb things.
I guess.
I get it. It's part of the requirement in the test.
You know, Sponday
Got to be able to
Tot-
say dumb things with a straight face.
Sponday. They all pass.
Yeah, flying colors.
That's they shouldn't even have.
You
that
have to
part.
take the blame for your owners. You have to know all 500 excuses. You've got to be able to
They
say
only get
dumb
away
things
with
with a straight
450.
face.
You get 90% of the excuses. 450 is good. You get
Oh, no,
it's like
Ray's-
the SAT. You get a 450.
Ray's a
you're
smart
good.
guy. He's got 550.
Ray's
He's
got- Ray-
he's got the additional 50.
Yeah, Ray's got more than the book says. Yeah, so with knowing that about Dealing Justice, I don't know. I still feel like Easy to Bless needs to get a little faster. I took a little shot with Sponday Tot. I know she's really a kind of a one-fig horse, and that was 2 back. We didn't see her for 9.5 weeks.
Who knows? She was just so
Yeah,
bad
she was
last
awful
time.
last
I mean,
time. Gets a trainer change to Ralphie D. Gonna be, you would imagine, gonna be aggressively handled under Trevor McCarthy from the inside. She's run
Is that
well.
a good thing, though?
I don't know. I don't know
Pay
if
the
it's a
rail
good
and
or a
being
bad
inside.
thing.
I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm not gonna. I agree. She runs a race 2 back. She's gonna win. But
Yeah.
the problem with a race 2 back is it lives in isolation. She's a one
Right,
number
but so
horse.
But don't you feel to an extent Easy to Bless's race on August 8th in Saratoga?
But Dealing
lives in
Justice
isolation?
isn't. She's the horse that she
Well,
is.
I
And I just
guess.
think she's a better horse.
Okay.
I'm not. Believe me, I'm not
Yeah, I know.
in love with her
This
either.
is not a hill to die on. The second and third race are not hills to die on.
And speaking of Ray Handel, of course, Jose Mejia, his assistant, had that horrible accident in Turfway. We send our best wishes there.
Absolutely.
I know we wrote it up yesterday. There is a GoFundMe for him as
Good.
well. But we wish him and of course everyone, Ray's barn, but also the family as well, and we wish them the best.
Yes, always.
Race number 4, that will kick off the pick 6. Francisco, do you have that slate at your fingertips, or is Francisco sleeping?
Hit it again,
I thought I
Cisco.
might have heard a little snore in the background. I'm not sure. He wouldn't be the first guy that we put to sleep. $31,130 kicks off
Me
in race.
either.
And I got to tell you something.
Probably won't be the last either.
I know you and I land on the same horse here, but this is not a race where I have a particularly strong opinion. I guess if speed were good, maybe you'd want a ring thing, and this is the race 2 back, leading wire to wire. But I mean, unless you think that she's going to wire the field, I just don't think she's very good. But I guess she's not impossible.
Isn't she another one, Andy? Where does this dirt race come from? I mean, I know it's Juan Vasquez. It wasn't Juan Vasquez.
wasn't Juan
actually.
Vasquez.
Yeah, where did this dirt race come from? I don't know what this dirt. Her other dirt races weren't that good. And she came back for Juan Vasquez.
Speed was okay that day. So
she came back for
might
Juan
have-
Vasquez and ran 13 points slower.
You know, I start to wonder a little bit if some of those odd tracks.
The numbers are inflated.
No. Let me finish. That where there where speed did, when I wrote down the speed seemed pretty good. If maybe it was a little more of a bias than we thought about because of all the bias we've had later. And so I wonder, she was carried a little long, but on the other hand, she is the speed today.
Yes.
So and for that reason, here's my thing about this race. Now, you've got Carrick second. I don't like Carrick at all. And he's got the 9 Sweet Mission as one of my favorite. And listen, 7-2, 2 4-1s, a 5-1, 2 5-1s, a 6-1. I wouldn't want to be David and had to make this line. Why is the 9 going to be favored in here off of what?
I don't like the source at all.
I mean, I guess the rider changed to Dylan Davis. I mean, listen, I respect David, and I wouldn't want to.
I don't think Kevin Navarro does that bad of a job. Number one, number two. What did he do wrong last time?
I don't disagree. This horse was a little bit wide, but I don't think it was bad being outside. I mean, there's some people who think the rail was bad that day. I'm not one of them, but there's an argument that it was, and this horse was off of it, as was Carrick. I hate that race. I mean, Blushable, I know she's running against better horses. You know, there's a search party out for her. That was a race where Suspended Campaign was the favorite, and she didn't show up. And after that, it was just an abysmal field. And also, I think the horse later today couldn't get the distance that you like. Chloe Rose was in there. She just couldn't get the mile, and she was down on the inside. So that race, to me, was an illusion. I didn't want either of these horses.
I'll tell you what it was with Carrick. With Carrick a little bit, I feel like a ring thing's the speed. I would imagine, I know she was not, it didn't happen last time, but I would imagine left-leaning Lucy will try to be forward today. I don't know what happened last time. Pendolino's been forward when she gets out of the gate.
I tell you, if it wasn't, well, what happened to left-leaning Lucy last time? She was wide against a gold rail.
She didn't wasn't aggressive.
The problem with
early.
left-leaning Lucy, I would have picked her on top if this was 6.5 furlongs. I can't pick her to mile.
I'm saying at least be in a little bit of a pace factor.
Well, she should be,
I think
should be
maybe there can be a
second.
little bit of a pace.
No,
in
there's
there,
not going to be a little pace.
and
There's
it can help.
There's never a pace.
That would help Carrick.
There's never a pace here, so you're being silly. You can't come up here every day and tell us there's going to be a little bit of a pace. There isn't.
Listen, with a ring thing in here, and left-leaning Lucy's supposed to be.
Rates to hold together. It's not going to be a strong pace, Anthony.
But I think those paces kind of help a horse like Carrick. If you think it could fall apart a little bit, and speed wasn't good yesterday.
Listen, I don't think anything could help Carrick personally, but I just don't think she's much worse. But listen, it's not like we're standing on particularly solid ground here.
No.
Why do you like Chase and Bryn?
Well, Chase and Bryn had a little run last winter, end of 2020 into 2021, where she ran a series of races that would bury these horses. Obviously, something went wrong. We didn't see her for 3 months from February to May. Then we didn't see her again from May to December. And it certainly looked like she just needed that sprint last time out. She's stretching back out to the distance she thinks she's going to want. She's in for the price she should probably be in for. She's run against a little bit better.
I wish she did some running last time. I don't like the running line. I don't know that it's fully accurate. I don't know if she was that far back, but she just kind of dropped back. She was pretty far back early. I don't know. I wished I had seen her do something last time. But I picked her because I don't want anybody else. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to use Shane's Pretty Lady. I like the fact that Rudy claimed this horse, and he's moving her up from 25 to 35. Right?
Off of that race last time, and the fact that she's been gone almost 2 months, you could have knocked me over with a feather that she was on the race.
Yeah.
Right? She had all the signs of, let's put her in for the 14th life
I agree.
and do whatever you got to do. You want her, take her. Yeah, it's probably a good sign that she's in for that she's on the race.
I could use a lot of horses here.
Race, yeah,
I really looked long and hard at left-leaning Lucy because she was against the track and she has races that can win.
The mile's a question.
The mile
big question.
really concerns me for her. I just don't know that she can get the trip. This is a very, very tricky race.
It's silly when they're 5 years old to talk about pedigree, but she's by the lumber guy, and that doesn't give you a lot of confidence that she's going to get 8 furlongs.
It doesn't give me a lot of confidence, period. She's one of the better lumber guys. Are there any good lumber guys?
There was that.
There was one, I think.
Is Kosciuszko the lumber guy?
Who?
Kosciuszko? He won some money. He made like $150,000. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's somebody else.
That's the best you can do.
Buddy, I'm trying.
I like the lumber guy, Mike Hushen. I like any horse reminds us of Mike Hushen.
Me too.
And then you come to the 5th race. So you've made it through the first leg of the pick 6. And now you come to this.
You made it through the first level of Jumanji.
Disaster. So we've got a bunch of horses coming out of the last race on January 14th. Pal's Alley, a horse that David Aragona had alerted me to, made some unbelievable run to get second. I mean, this horse came from the clouds. Problem is, why am I supposed to be convinced this horse wants more distance? So you've got a field where you don't really trust or like anybody, and you've got to guess who's getting the mile.
Yep.
This is some race.
Yep. I wound up with Pal's Alley on top, scratching out. I had KT Gal. I took the Pletcher horse.
I can't bet
scratched
Pal's
out of
Alley.
that.
Horse was a big price last time.
Yeah,
This
I
exacta
know.
paid huge.
I know.
No, this exacta paid like $1.50. I want to say it paid like $1.50.
Well, that's Ray
with a
Handels, the Honorable
relatively
Ruth
logical
getting the
horse
job done.
winning
Yeah,
the race.
yeah.
Maybe the favorite,
$8 or something.
Might have been
Paid
9 to
$8.
5.
My friend Tony made a bet on her. She was 8. I think she paid $8.10.
Okay. She was favored.
Yeah. Lukewarm, right?
I can't.
Listen, I know.
She can win. I can't
know.
I can't take her. And
I could use any combination of 2, 9.
At least with Lost Anchor, the horse had a tough
11,
post last
13.
time. Jackie had to ride the horse to be in the race and chase the pace, and the horse did run the good figure 2 back before it dropped. Figures to be forward in this race. Could be the actual speed in here. Whether that's good or not, we don't really know.
Right.
I assumed it would be okay, and that's why I thought he was dangerous. I'm just going to, listen, if we can pick the Kerry Brion trainer change in the first race,
Absolutely.
why wouldn't we take this horse? I mean, why would
Absolutely.
you leave this horse out if you're going to take the one in the first race? The one in the first race, the one people are going to notice. Now, granted, this horse hasn't done any running. This horse was 6-1 against better horses last time out,
Yeah.
to be fair. Broke a step slow.
She didn't do any running. I know. It's that kind of race.
I think this horse might be hopeless, but I think this horse
Okay.
is a
It's
little-
going to be 12-1, 15-1. So.
got to be a big price in
Yeah.
here, and should be a big price. And I'm looking for something, and I got nothing here. I mean,
I would use my 4 and the other 2 you have. I mean,
yeah, I'm
it's
not
a
betting
big spread.
Eunomania. I'm not
Yeah.
playing this guy.
Okay.
Good luck to him. I thought the race collapsed last time. The only reason you take him is if you feel like he's more likely to win in a mile than
Right.
Pal's Alley, but not me.
That was,
Could
like
he
the
win?
other, that was like the other Schosberg horse that won stretching out to the mile New Year's Eve. The horse in the last race.
Can't remember.
I can't remember the name either. The last race of the year. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I think
The
you
ninth
gotta-
race on
the ninth
31st
yeah.
was the last race of the year. That's why we have Anthony here. He's the brains of the operation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile. So you've now survived the first 2 legs. And I got to tell you something. Maybe it's a little bit more formful here, but this is a very, very tough race number 5.
Yes.
Or 6, excuse me. We'll start out by showing the replay of Blue Grotto's race 2 back, the horse you have on top, where he ran second. I'll let you talk about him, why you picked him.
This race here, this horse was back in Richmond Hill when they were going down the backside. He had to make up 25 lengths.
Well, they
to
were
stay.
moving up front.
They were moving, but I mean, he was far, far back, Andy. For a horse who used to be in the hunt, I mean, he was just so far back. And then last time out, track was kind of, the track was speedy and it was inside and he was on the rail and they went back to the old tactics and put him on the front end and a little bit of a contested pace. They didn't go that fast, but it was a contested pace and he
Tested.
just
About 6 horses went.
Yeah. Fell apart like a cheap
was.
suit.
I understand why Kendrick did what he did.
Yeah,
and
so
he may
do
have been
I.
under instructions for doing it.
Sure.
But he didn't get the right trip in that
No.
race for that race. And the problem with him is, and I've got him second, and I saw the same things you did. Pier 40 ran better than he did. Now I'm not a Pier 40 guy, so he's going to beat me. But he was off the claim for Juan Vasquez, and he ran far and away the best race he's ever run last time.
No question about it. He was involved in that pace early on. He was the only one to really survive when Gio Care just came and picked up the pieces.
Look at High Tide, who was close to the pace also, and he beat him. He was third, but he beat him by 6 3/4
Yeah,
lengths, and
almost
the
7
rest of the
lengths.
field fell apart. So if you take him in isolation, he's the horse to beat. I just can't bet Pier 40, but
That's fine.
He can win. I don't blame you at all.
I wanted that. I obviously wanted that race for 2 different, for 2 different reasons. So I picked
Linda's
those
got
2.
her entry. She's got them both in. We'll show them running 1-2 at Churchill now.
Were these the ones that were entered as the entry the last time in 1 scratch?
Yeah, they weren't an entry last time. That's what I don't quite understand about it.
Oh, you're right. They were like the 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, right?
Yeah, they
You're
weren't
right.
They learned an entry last time. So this horse, the horse that won, came back, and I mean, he just lost contact with the field. I asked Trevor McCarthy about him, and I think he said to me the more he rode him, the farther back he fell.
That's got to be a bad feeling, right?
And it's not a winning feeling. But I do respect Mr. Candy Ride, because he maybe could be a little bit closer in there. I don't know what to do with both of them. I put him in somewhere. I think Group Hug is very dangerous, getting back to the dirt. I thought his dirt form was okay. He had no shot in his last dirt race. I mean, running against horses like Milliken and those horses at Churchill, they're 1,000 times better than these. So I'm going to use him. I've got him third. You've got him fourth. I'm also going to I'm going to put Extreme on top. I don't trust Extreme at a mile, but he is the main speed here. And unlike last time, he's going to be the controlling speed in this race. Now, obviously, we don't know how the track is playing, and that may not help him at all. And yes, is the distance question? It is, except he's run very well going a mile before. He's got an 84 buyer running second to Coolhouse. So he's run fast at this. I think he's very dangerous in here to wire the field for Ray, or the birthday boy.
I'll tell you what, this is another one of those races on the card day. Like you said, we're half joking when we say this, but I put a line through Confectioner.
It's tough to make 42 ace in here.
Well, you know what? The whole 42 ace thing, those horses under instruction to be dropped to the bottom by the owner.
I understand. It's still tough to make.
I guess I've been off of his last two figs.
Well, he can't win his last.
Which are 9 months apart.
Well, he rode a big bias last time.
What if he can improve a little bit?
He can't improve off a bias aided win unless he gets an extreme bias. To suggest that you want a horse to improve off a bias, look, he's 15 to 1. If somebody likes him,
he'd be a
bet
big
him.
price. You know
Well,
what I mean?
but I don't think he can realistically like him.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure why he's better than Confectioner, to be honest with you.
Okay.
He'd be a little bit better, but not a lot. As Charlie Baker, that's the one thing he's going for him. We'll see. Race number 7, but I agree, it's a tricky race. Now, and I'll tell you something else. Race number 7
doesn't get any. It doesn't really. It gets I guess a little easier, but
I don't know. Maybe not. Why do you like Chloe Rose?
I think I kind of feel like I'm committed to Chloe Rose. I don't think. Well, we talked about this briefly earlier. Probably didn't want the mile last time out. Was cutting the pace from the inside draw. I don't.
If you think the rail was bad that day, you give her an excuse.
I don't. Well, I know.
I'm just saying, if you think it was bad, no, she could win.
I just think that with horses like obviously Norman Queen in the race, and even Early Edition, Magnetique. There's going to be some more speed in here.
Norman Queen is the speed.
Yeah, she'll sit a trip that she is more accustomed to.
Wow, she's the 7-2 morning line favorite.
Yes.
I'd like to book every cent on her in every single pool. She only got bet last time because that track last time heated up early as a giant speed track, and she was able to wire a preposterous field from the inside. Underdressed up in the horse racing dictionary, there's a picture of Norman Queen. If she's favored in this race, you've got to dive in with both fists.
I can't imagine that's going to happen.
You got it with both fists.
I'll tell you what. I don't think she'll be favored. But I don't know who will be.
I don't want to make the line here.
Can you forgive suspended campaign last time? Maybe she could be. I mean, she's 6-1.
Well, she was down the inside for a lot of the race. If you think the rail was bad, that's the only excuse. But she was pitiful last time.
She was
terrible.
terrible.
Her race 2 back and win this.
Yes.
I mean, I've got her second like you do.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the same 3 horses, you and I. I had Linda's horse third, actually. My girl Lexi scratching a Magnetique is the third horse, but I don't really like her.
I'm always rooting for my girl Lexi.
There you go. That's a good point. You make a great point. We'll show Early Edition's last race. I'm going to tell you something. I talked about this in the show last time. I know she beat nobody, but her win 2 back was legit. And I think she ran even better in this race because you wanted to be towards the inside. She chased Violet Vixen, who was better than her and had the whole run of it. I mean...
It never really went away. I mean, I know she gets speed a good distance, but the truth of the matter is, against the track and...
a little bit against it, not as much the winner, but she ran. And she never gave up. I think she's a big player. At least she's coming off a good effort. I would use 4, 5, and 6 in this race and take my chances.
Me too. I put Norman Queen 4th, but yeah, I'm 4, 5, and 6 in here.
David Aragona just texted me and he said, I didn't think Norman Queen or the Mark Hennig horse earlier. He said, I didn't think either one of them should be favored. He said, well, you're smarter than me if you can figure out who's going to be favored. And I agree. I couldn't agree more with David. I mean, it's such a thankless job. I mean, this was, it's funny because we were talking earlier in the week and David said to me, Friday's card's kind of a doozy. And I said, yeah, there's some awfully tricky rate. And we're talking about them. They're actually fun to talk about. But
they're tricky.
They're tricky races, and they're tricky to handicap, and they're very tricky to make a line.
Yeah,
As it is, David will probably miss by like less than a point on every single horse in the race, like he often does. Race number 8. Race number 8's a good race. I really am looking forward to this race. You have Hammer and Amber second. Please explain to me how he possibly has a chance in this race.
What's wrong with Hammer and Hammer?
He couldn't win this race if they ran it 50 times.
I'm going to say this to you again. These old pros that get into good form.
You realize who he beat last time?
I
With an
know,
absolutely perfect
but
trip?
you understand that his figs.
Good luck to
since
him.
he was claimed
Good
back
luck.
in September.
Good luck to
this
him.
is the old Hammer and Hammer.
Good luck to him.
Okay.
Good luck to him. I think he should be 20-1 in this race.
Okay.
Good luck to him. I don't know. David's got Texas Swing 9-2, all but one. Somebody who's completely insane picked Pioneer Spirit, who has zero chance in here. He should be 50-1. I mean, he really should be 50-1. I mean, he rode that huge bias, and case in point with you with Buy, Land, and Sea. How bad was he yesterday coming out of that race? And Texas Swing. I mean, he just moving up. I mean, this is a very tough field. I mean, Hammer and Hammer are going to beat those two in all likelihood, but there's some pretty tough horses in this race. I mean, what about Tiergan's race 2 back? And isn't he getting a gigantic rider switch to Jorge Vargas for this race? I mean, I think if Tiergan runs this race 2 back, he's going to be very, very tough to beat.
The infamous 5th pick. He gets his Lasix back.
Whatever
too.
he
I know
is.
he has a win in the Ashley P.
Not your
Cole
top
without
four.
the Lasix, but his numbers without the Lasix are considerably slower. He gets his Lasix back. Yeah, this is a fun race. This is a tough race. You could make
He
a
went
case. I think,
super
for
near.
5
This was an inside Z track. He was wide the whole way around the track. The rail was strong that day. He kept on running. Empty tomb, by the way, won the race.
First Constitution's in there. Yeah, I mean,
This horse runs back to that race, and he's going to be very tough. Now, obviously, Prioritize you're taking on the claim.
yes.
And we'll show you the stat for Rui Rodriguez. Here's the problem with Prioritize. All right, he was compromised last time by a big speed track. I know speed held together in the race we just showed. This horse just sucked up on the rail. This is a horse you're strictly using because you're counting on Rudy. Claim for Rudy and Mike Dubb. Rudy and Mike Dubb have they claimed a horse
Not-
together
not
in a while?
recently.
Yeah,
It's been a
I
little
saw
bit.
that, and I was thinking it's been a while. I get it.
Got some old back clean. Rudy's
I
doing
know,
with these
but
old back class horses. You kind of feel like, at least if you like him, you're kind of hoping that he's kind of running himself into form completely against the track last time. I will say this. I am a little bit worried about this horse on a wet track. This horse's wet track races. I know the Grumps Little Tots race 2 years ago was okay, but overall, I think this horse is better on a fast track. It does bother me a little bit.
He did
We'll see
lose
what
to
Rudy
Max
does.
Player in the Suburban in a sloppy track. Good call.
Say that again.
He lost to Max Player
He
last year.
he was nowhere. He didn't run 2 steps. And there's the problem. I mean, like
Listen,
I'm saying.
you see ghosts around every corner. I
But
get it.
I think
You've got the 2/3 here.
I want the 2 horses in form behind here. Listen, Tiergan's
Well,
okay.
they're not,
I don't know what to do
Tiergan's
with
in
Mystic
form.
Knight. I mean, what do you do with Mystic Knight at this point?
Well, he was horrendous last time.
He wasn't too good
Absolute-
2 back. I mean,
I actually disagree with that. I
Okay.
thought he got the wrong ride 2 back.
Okay, fair enough.
And he also ran 91 Buyer. He was atrocious last time.
awful.
He runs his last race. He has absolutely no chance in this race. Still, they're coming back with him. I don't trust him. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to use Croatian. He's got plenty of races. Claimed by Tony Dutrow. I'd rather use him than the insides. I didn't like them. I was 4 5s and a little 6. We saw this race a little bit differently. If Hammer or Texas Swing win, I will gracefully lose. I'll be happy to lose. I don't like either one of them.
I mean,
and I hope they both take money.
I'm betting on Prioritize today.
Okay.
Like, that's what I'm doing. And I'll mess around with a little 1 and 2, maybe a little 6.
I'm
but
also
I'm betting
Prioritize, to be
today.
honest, is he's not going to be much price in here. A lot of people are going to see the same thing. And don't you feel as though he's just kind of a bad value play?
Andy, they always bet Mystic Knight. I think people are going to see what you see with Tiergan.
Well, I don't think Tiergan's going to be short. Listen,
Okay. David's
David's right in this line, and Tiergan's bigger price than him. I'm all in.
Okay.
Race number 9. And then you get here, after all this, this is some sequence.
Some sequence.
This is I knew it wasn't easy.
And I think you did at the beginning of the show. We're speeding up post times today, so this 4:54.
We're going to run them
post-
consecutively. The
This
jocks are going to
4:54
switch
post,
like Superman off
I
the
believe
course.
it's 4:02
think
now,
it's-
so it's going to be like 24 minutes between races
1:15
today.
the last race is going on.
I don't want to stop.
No,
it's
we're
like
gonna run
24
every
minutes
3
between races
minutes.
today, so keep an eye
It's
on
gonna
that
be
throughout the day.
dizzying. 4:02. I'll take the over, by the way.
Yeah, it'll probably go 4:05 or something like that. Hopefully the weather. Hopefully it doesn't get as cold as it's supposed to get, and we can have a little bit of breathing room. But you have to,
The weatherman.
Listen, I get colder than I used to. There's less of me, and I'm older.
Race number 9. I've run out of energy for race number 9, and I just.
You just handicapped the first 8 and just made a pick and a
I
list?
just. Yeah, we're
This
not.
was-
We'll skip. We'll skip Hammer and Hammer. Don't worry about it. Race number 9. Sorry about that.
This is wild. This was a wild finale. I mean, you can make a case for how many horses.
No, I just think Phenomenal Woman's probably going to win. We'll show her race 2 back when she ran at this level. I just thought it was good enough to beat these horses.
back to the
She
clay
does
one.
have to get a mile, but she's a mucho macho man. I don't have anything clever to say. I'm going to use Mondoose, who's really mostly run the turf, but didn't run at all in her one dirt race, but I'll use her a little bit. She actually has some dirt pedigree. I'm going to use her. Incontrovertible didn't run at all last time, but it ran better than these 2 back. I'm going to use them. If you want the others, they're all yours.
Yeah. I'm going to try and get, I know you ain't talking to me wire to wire here. Just keep going. Trying to get a Bustin' Stones a mile.
It's not exactly no pace. I mean, Mondoose is going to go.
I guess.
Incontroversial is going to be forward. Okay. Good luck.
Love's Misery ran well enough first time for Atris, I thought. I don't know what happened last time.
Well, see, I disagree. I think you have a belief in a race that I don't see at all.
Okay.
You think
Yeah,
you
you don't
think
like
that
the race.
race was good.
You
I
don't
think
like
it was
the
one of
race.
the worst maiden races we've
Okay.
run all year.
All right.
So
Fair enough.
we just disagree. And this isn't a strong limit. These horses are better. Saw it a little bit differently. See how it plays out.
We did.
Race number 9.
It's a wild
closing
finale.
out. All right. So the first post is 12:50. The last post is scheduled for 4:02.
Yes. So a little over 3 hours. Like an old school Thanksgiving Day card. I used to get out of here in 3 hours on Thanksgiving Day.
No, they used to start at 11.
Yeah. We used to start at 10. I remember when we started at 10:30 before the
There you
LASIX.
have it. I remember down in Florida when they used to start the Super Bowl card at 11 at Gulfstream back in the 90s. I used to go. So it'll be over in time. Nobody does
If
that
you
anymore.
are Catholic, you know that the 5 o'clock mass
I'm
on
not.
Super Bowl Sunday. I know you're not. The 5 o'clock mass on Super Bowl Sunday usually gets done in about 28 minutes.
I'm tempted to tell a story about our good friend Sean, but I'm not going to tell the story. We're done. I hope you've enjoyed it half as much as we have. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Keep Anthony employed 200.
It's bonus 200, folks.
Or-
I'm the bonus.
Yeah,
Bonus
actually,
200.
your computer throws up if you
There
put
we
in
go.
Keep Anthony employed.
Bonus 200. That's me.
Deposit. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit, and you'll be playing through Naira Bets and keeping the money in the game. Nothing more important than that. What do we have today, Francisco? We have $31,130 in the carryover, and we also have a $20 bonus. You have to opt in. 75 or more each at Aqueduct and Tampa Bay. We'll be covering Tampa races. Enter $20. How did Hot Rod Charlie do it? Do we know this morning?
Hold on. I'll check at Naira
He
Bets.
ran at Doobie. Assuming he's already run. Maybe the
Doobie.
race hasn't been run.
He ran in Doobie. Doobie.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he's run. They've run the race yet, right? So they started at 9:30,
They have run the race.
and he won for fun. He crushed. Nick Tammer was
Crush
very
group.
excited.
260 with William Buick aboard.
Nick Tammer was very excited. He said he crushed.
Everfast
2:30 to
third.
4:30. Everfast.
Third.
Yeah, he's like 30, right?
He was second
He won his
to
debut when I was
War
in
of,
high school.
He was second to War of Will in the Preakness. Is that accurate?
Sounds correct.
Joel sneaking up the
Romans had
inside.
him. Dale Romans. had
Dale
him.
Romans.
Yeah, that's correct. A good call. Okay. All right, we're done. And
See you tomorrow.
yeah, I will not be up here much. I'll be up for the 4th race, but then we'll be on America's Day at the Races. So everybody have a great day. Good luck, and we'll see you later. Johnny I up next. Reprise Scratches and Changes.